Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 5 p.m. podcast. I'm Dan, your resident politics nerd, and as always, I'm here with Tina.
That's me, the one who tries to keep Dan from disappearing into a black hole of policy details. And today, folks, we've got a doozy for you.
Oh, it's a big one. So Congress just dropped this massive economic proposal, right? The Committee for Economic Development, or CED, put out this whole report called America in Perspective, Policy Priorities for 2025. And it's a lot.
A lot is an understatement. We're talking about the national debt, healthcare, infrastructure, AI. It's like they took every major issue and went, yep, let's tackle that.
But it's interesting, right? They're basically saying, here's where we're at, folks, and here's what we need to think about. And the first thing they hit is the national debt. Tina, did you see this? It's over $36 trillion.
I did. And you know what stuck with me? The cost of servicing that debt is now more than what we spend on defense. I mean, think about that for a second.
It's wild. And they're saying it's unsustainable, which, yeah, no kidding. They even mentioned the debt-to-GDP ratio is at 100% and climbing.
So what's the solution here? Because it feels like we're just kicking the can down the road.
Well, they talk about reforms to Social Security and Medicare, which are facing some serious funding issues. And they suggest things like value-based care in healthcare. So basically paying for results instead of just, more procedures.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we even start to make a dent in a $36 trillion debt?
That's the trillion-dollar question, isn't it? I think it involves tough choices. Probably some combination of spending adjustments and maybe finding new revenue sources. But hey, that is way above my pay grade.
Let's shift gears for a sec. The report also talks about labor shortages. What's the deal there?
Right, so basically, there aren't enough people to fill all the jobs that are out there. They're saying it's a long-term problem, and it's hurting economic growth.
I've definitely seen help wanted signs everywhere. Is it just that people don't want to work?
Not exactly. It's more complicated. It could be retirements, changing demographics. They suggest things like immigration reform, which is always a hot topic, and also investing in training programs to get people the skills they need.
So matching people's skills to the jobs that are available. That sounds sensible, but how do we get there?
They talk about partnerships between businesses and educators. And also rethinking post-secondary education, maybe with more focus on skills-based credentials. You know, not everyone needs a 4-year degree.
Speaking of the future, let's talk AI. The report says we need a comprehensive national policy framework for AI. What does that even mean?
It means we need some rules of the road for artificial intelligence. It's developing so fast. And there are concerns about safety, ethics, all that good stuff.
Like, are robots going to take over the world?
Well, maybe not world domination, but think about things like bias in algorithms or job displacement. They're suggesting guardrails to make sure AI is developed and used responsibly.
So who decides what's responsible? That sounds like a whole other can of worms.
Exactly. It's a tough one. They say it needs to be a balance between fostering innovation and protecting the public. They don't have all the answers, but they're saying, hey, we need to figure this out.
Okay, last big topic, the global picture. How does all of this fit with what's happening around the world?
They talk a lot about geopolitical context, basically how the U.S. is interacting with other countries, especially with the war in Ukraine and competition with China.
So it's not just about our internal issues, but also how we navigate this complex global landscape.
Right. They stress the need for strong U.S. leadership, supporting allies, and also managing trade relationships. It's all interconnected.
It sounds like a balancing act. We need to be strong, but also smart about how we use our resources.
And they emphasize the role of business leaders in all of this. They're saying that businesses need to be part of the solution, working with policymakers to address these challenges.
So not just lobbying for their own interests, but actually contributing to the bigger picture?
That's the idea. It's about finding common ground and recognizing that a strong economy and a strong society go hand in hand.
Well, Dan, you've given us a lot to chew on. This report is dense, but it really highlights the major crossroads we're at.
It does. And it's not all doom and gloom. There are opportunities here, but it's going to take some serious effort and some tough decisions.
And a lot of collaboration, it sounds like, between government, businesses, and, well, all of us.
Exactly. It's a call to action, really. A reminder that we all have a stake in this.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Big thanks to Dan for breaking down this economic proposal with me. This is Tina, signing off.
And this is Dan. Catch you next time on the 5 p.m. podcast.